I like elephants and God likes elephants. Here's the Unrealistic Elephant Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, into episode 2 of the Unrealistic Elephant Podcast. This is Nathan.
And I'm Tim Heidecker, and this is On Cinema at the Cinema.
I don't believe that at all. I don't.
Well, ye of little faith. This is my guest, Greg Pickington.
Oh my God!
Have you seen
I'm so
On
sorry.
Cinema at the Cinema?
I don't think I actually have.
Oh, dude, I've just been blowing through it because I hadn't watched it up until recently. It is the best thing Tim Heidecker's ever put out, in my opinion. I'm going to send you a video. It's very complicated how, like, the order and sequence that you need to watch things, but I'm going to send you a video from someone called Admiral Gorg, and he'll explain it. And it is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm always down for some Tim Heidecker. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Well, it is. Yeah, so this is our second episode. We made it. I can't believe that it was weird. I didn't think that I would actually record and put out a podcast. You know, you don't really think these things through until they're actually out there, and it was weird to see myself on YouTube again whenever you put it back up.
Yeah, that would have been, I guess, it was kind of weird for me when I started putting up videos again. Even though I didn't, like, completely leave, I would post maybe once a year for a little while after we stopped making videos together. And then, you know, Game Dude just perpetuated that into a new stratosphere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, the Alex, wherever you are, we really appreciate you propelling my friend into YouTube stardom. I guess you can call it that. I don't know.
I don't know if I would call it that, but I don't know. I got recognized. A new Game Dude videos coming out by June the King that I'm going to be involved with. So
Yeah.
I think there's some
that's very
level
exciting.
of, yeah, I'm very happy about that. I think there's some level of I wouldn't call it stardom, but some level of accomplishment that I got from that.
Yeah, you're getting your name out there at least.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's pretty surreal because it's like you listen to some of these people for like 2+ years, and then you have the opportunity to work with them. Same with Trevor from Media Mementos.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh, he's great.
yeah, for sure. Anyway, I'm jerking myself off. I'm not Tim Heidecker, by the way. I'm Eric Wareheim. And
Oh yes, this is my friend Eric Wareheim. I'm Nathan, and we're here to talk about movies again for the second time, and hopefully not the last.
Yeah. Okay. So since we started off with my movie last time, I think that we should start off with yours this time, and you can do the introduction for it, if that's cool with you.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, for my movie, this time around, I picked RRR, which is I said a Bollywood movie last episode, but it's not a Bollywood. It's an Indian film, and I'm going to preface this by saying I am not
Tollywood, or what do you call the like region that this was made in?
I believe it's Tollywood. It was filmed in Telugu, I believe. And yeah, so I believe it's called Tollywood, is the specific. And by the way, I do not know a whole lot about Indian culture, and that is going to shine through in how I talk about this film. Any of your Indian subscribers, I'm very sorry for how I'm going to pronounce names and how I'm going to speak about your culture. This is probably very bad for me to say, but I really loved your movie. Like, it was incredible. So RRR is a film directed by S.S. Rajmouli, I believe his name is, and starring NTR Jr. and Ram Charan, who are, as I've come to learn, like the biggest celebrities ever in India. They are like like the whole premise of this film, apparently, before they even announced what the plot of the film was, is just the name of the film is the initials of the three people who were involved in it, is the two leads and the director, who were incredibly popular in India. And it just blew up over there. And I said last episode that my father recommended this to me on a whim, and I checked it out, and I thought it was amazing. A whole lot of fun. I now the plot is out there because it's regarding two Indian revolutionaries who never met in real life, in reality, but it sort of makes this it's sort of like Indian historical fan fiction, presented in this overblown, insane way, with insane action, lots of CGI, and I sort of you watch it when it starts. It's hard to take it seriously until you see that the film itself is taking it incredibly seriously, and which is why I fell in love with it, and it's why I wanted you to watch it for this episode. So yeah, I really want to know what you thought about the film to start off.
Yeah, so I was kind of in the same position as you were, in that I never really saw an Indian movie, and of course this is like I've seen clips from them and stuff like that, but I've never seen one from like beginning to end. And this was like making the rounds of like popularity last year, I guess, when it came out, which is really kind of a interesting thing because India and China, for that matter, they make a bunch of movies within their own film industry that make a lot of money in their domestic marketplaces, but they don't usually branch out and get international attention, at least not wide international attention, as far as I know.
Right.
For most of them, unless, well, excluding Hong Kong, but I think Hong Kong kind of excludes itself from China too. So RRR was one where I was like, I had heard about it for a while, and I was always kind of like, okay, I'll watch it eventually. And yeah, that's why I was really happy that you finally got around to recommending it. And I really like this movie a lot. I saw a lot that I really enjoyed in it. And it was kind of funny that you were saying that, like, this is they have the two biggest stars in India and whatnot. This is kind of like a blockbuster movie for India, specifically. Like, it's not like a small indie art house thing that gets played at a few festivals. Like, this was a huge hit. And yeah, this is, I guess, the Indian equivalent of, like, I don't know, something Disney would put out in the Western market or something like that, or a Studio Ghibli movie in Japan or something like that.
Yeah, it's almost like a Marvel property almost. Like they put in so much effort into it because it's just such a all these big names tied to it. Even the title itself is just like they tie different words to it in the film to make it mean something else. But when the title was initially dropped, it was just the initials of the main three guys who were in charge of the movie, and that's all anyone needed to hear. I know that when this movie initially came out, they showed clips from the film, specifically one of the musical scenes, which are all incredible, and we'll get into that. And the dance that the two leads do shows up on screen, and basically everyone in India who went to go see this movie knew this dance and was doing it in the aisles of the theater when the scene came on. It was like you watch the clips of people watching this movie, and you want to believe the hype because everyone is so happy to be a part of this, and you get swept up in the whole vibe of it.
Kind of sounds like a Rocky Horror or Repo. Even like
exactly
type of crowds that go see those movies,
for sure. And so the movie opens with this really I've never seen an Indian film before again, but I couldn't believe the studio production logos at the beginning of this were like the like multiple different CG companies, long minute long.
Yeah, the opening credits
logos.
were like 4 minutes or something, which I mean, I guess on a 3-hour movie, that's not that much, but it was kind of funny.
But yeah, I thought that was so like it believes its own hype, and to the point where you also have to believe its own hype.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely get the vibe of, this is a very crowd-pleasing movie, I think, in a lot of ways. I can see why a lot of people would get into it. I actually kind of wonder if, like, maybe there's, like, if this is kind of like Marvel or something in India, where you have a bunch of Indian people are saying, oh, this is overrated, and, like, this is, like, there's these smaller Indian productions. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's made me wonder.
From what I've read online, I've determined that there is a very small vocal minority of people who are very they figure that these movies, or this movie in particular, is not like real Indian film. This is pandering to the global lot, which I don't quite understand, considering a lot of this is tied into Indian culture, which was mostly lost on me. I was really just enjoying the vibe of the whole film.
I think it kind of contextualizes it well enough, though, to where I was able to follow and understand and stuff like that without... I mean, maybe there's probably intricacies that I missed, but I think, like, I got the bigger picture here.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So basically the whole movie is based on... I don't know what time this would have been, but British occupied India. Mm-hmm. So the film opens with a British governor and his wife buying a young child from a young village.
It's kind of funny because when I was watching this movie for the first time, I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is going to be an Indian movie. I'm not going to recognize any of the actors. But it's like, wait, Ray Stevenson is in this? Like, what?
Yeah. I immediately, when I watched it the first time, I didn't even notice it was Ray Stevenson. I was just caught up in the whole thing. But I was like, oh my God, I recognize him. But yeah, which was really surprising. And he does a great job at this movie.
Yeah, he does do a really good job. And rest in peace, because he's since passed away.
I just found that out today, and I was floored. Honestly, he does an amazing job in this movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of the Caucasian actors in this movie are with the exception of one, which we'll get to, are given this task of just being the most evil people possible. Like, there's no sort of nuance to why they're doing this. It's just, we are way better than everyone else, and we will flaunt that on everyone. And the Indian people are very much the underdogs in this story, which makes sense considering the time period.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And honestly, I feel like that's one of, I guess, sort of my criticisms with the movie. I mean, I have very few criticisms of the movie, but I feel like the heart and soul is between the two main characters and their dynamic.
Oh, yes.
And I kind of feel like all of the side characters are, a little bit one note, maybe a bit cartoony in terms of the villain side of things, and not very nuanced, like you said. I mean, like, I don't know. It kind of like, have you seen Straight Outta Compton?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so like Straight Outta Compton was a movie where I felt that, it made the LAPD into these like cartoony villainous characters because, that's just like the NWA, that was kind of their perception of them. And so it really did not have like a nuanced perception of that type of thing. And also, like, I'm not defending, the evil actions of like, LAPD and what they probably did to the fucking NWA, but I kind of felt like, that and this really reminded me of the same thing where it's like, they're really trying to make a point with the villains in these movies, and it really just comes across as kind of heavy-handed.
It does, yeah. It's definitely something to be said whenever you're watching a scene where someone's being whipped, and then one of the villains says, "Actually," and they reach into their bag and say, "I have an eviler, more violent whip. Use this one."
Yeah.
Yeah. But what you said about the two main leads, that is basically the whole show, is NTR Jr., who plays Beam, and Ram Charan, who plays Ram, I believe his name was. So these two are real-life Indian revolutionaries who meet in a clash of ideals. So Ram is trying to work his way into the British Empire to try and steal weapons for the Indian people so they can rise up, and Beam is trying to get his he is part of the same clan as this girl, which is being sold off. So he goes to rescue her, and they sort of clash. Ram is sent to look for Beam, and Beam and Ram basically meet by chance in this insane action sequence where they're trying to save a little boy from a falling car from a bridge, which is incredible. Honestly, what a great way to introduce the friendship of these two characters, because the action in this movie is, initially you are introduced to these characters in these big character building action scenes. So Ram is seen fighting off a horde of people to capture someone for the British Empire, and Beam is seen capturing a tiger with his bare hands, like insane stuff. And then it all culminates in this big, giant, explosive rescue with all this symbolism. Beam is wrapped up in the Indian flag, which protects him from the fire of the car. It's very overt, but like, again, they obviously don't have the. It's obviously a very expensive movie, but they obviously don't have the same level of VFX that like Marvel would have. Maybe.
Oh yeah, that's something
maybe
that
now,
I guess.
Maybe now.
Oh yeah, maybe now. I mean, well, probably not Marvel level, but probably maybe closer to it. But that's something that I really found with the effects is that, like, okay, yeah, I wasn't convinced necessarily that a lot of this stuff was happening, but I did see a lot of the artistry in it, and not just in like the effects themselves, but like the way that they're kind of shot and they kind of integrate into the environment that they're already filming. I thought that they did a really, really good job with just making it, if not convincing, then very, very fun and entertaining to watch. Like the animation and VFX people deserve a lot of credit here, because it's not like even though I say like, oh yeah, it's not convincing, it's still very, very detailed. Like if this was a CGI animated movie, this would look really, really good for CGI.
Yeah.
And it's just, and I can probably, like, I know a lot of people are sick of CGI, and I am too, but I do think that it can be used in like a fun way. It's not necessarily like something that should never be utilized. It's just something that, I guess that it depends on the utilization of it. And I feel RRR was able to utilize it in a way that I hadn't seen in a long time, or maybe even ever. When I say I hadn't seen it in a long time, I mean the feeling that I got of seeing something new being done with CGI, rather than seeing, like, I don't know, the 1500th like Jurassic Park movie. Like it's a very, very different and much fresher utilization of the medium.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing, is there's a lot of great uses of CGI in here, just practically. Like, you don't want to see animals being wrangled up. You don't want tigers being let loose on people. So they use I think almost all of the animals in this film are all CG. But again, after like 20 minutes of watching this movie, you just sort of get caught up in it, and like the CG doesn't even matter. And like they're going for a very specific image, and the CG is only there to heighten that image that they're trying to give you with the cinematography and the action sequences. It's great. I was really, really, really impressed.
The only thing that I think kind of wore down on me as the movie went along was the slow-mo, because they use that a lot.
They do. They very much like accentuating the cool factor. If someone dodges a bullet or an arrow, then they are going to slide down on their knees, and that shot is going to take about 7 seconds, and you're going to watch this really handsome man slide on his knees and punch this tiger in the face.
It kind of it gave me a little bit of 300 vibes, although not nearly as bad or as excessive as 300.
Oh yeah,
300. If you took the slow-mo out, the movie would be about 30 minutes long. This would be this would still be a full movie.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so in terms of the story, another thing, we get our first big musical scene after this big meeting between Beam and Rom, and it's honestly incredible. It's like a music video. There's the shot of them walking along the barbed wire, and they're separated to symbolize the separation of their hearts and their ideals. And it's you immediately because at this point when the song is playing, they have known each other maybe 5 total minutes of the time you've watched the movie, and you immediately buy that they are best friends. They are inseparable. The most important person to the other person is them.
Well, except for the girl that the guy's trying to save.
Yes. But in terms of friendship, they are the best of friends you could ever have. Their friendship means everything to them. They would die for each other for that friendship.
And what I do really like about it is that you can tell they're being genuine with each other, but I mean, they're both kind of lying to each other at the same time, because, one of them's using a false name, and the other one's actually police in disguise. So it's it is... it's different from a typical liar revealed plot, I feel, because they're both kind of lying to each other at the same time, but they're not trying to manipulate each other, which I found kind of interesting.
Yeah, the purpose of the lie is not to hide something from the other person. The purpose of the lie is to do their job and get what they're looking for. The other person is their sworn brother. They would never lie to them. Which goes to show, because the moment that it has to come up, Beam tells Ram immediately who he is. He's like, I'm going to go save my sister, and if I come back, then that's great, and we'll be friends. If I don't, then I'm glad that I knew you, and I could die happy. But of course, that's not what happens. With that reveal, we find out that there's a really good action sequence at the palace. Oh, and during all this time...
Yeah, that was probably my favorite part of the movie, was the action sequence where they let all the animals out at the palace.
That was an amazing shot of the truck spilling over and all the animals coming out.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, actually, the last 30 minutes of the movie were probably my favorite, but before that, I would say that was my favorite part.
Oh, yes. No. But yeah, they get into a fight, and Beam is unfortunately unable to save his sister and is taken in by Rom. Oh my god, I didn't even mention... this movie's so long, it's so hard to keep track of everything.
I don't think we're going to touch on every single plot point, but that's okay.
No, I was going to... there's just so much to talk about. The dance scene at the palace, the Oscar award winning Natu Natu or Nacho Nacho, depending on which version you watched. It was great. There was so much fun to it. It just sort of accentuated how back in the day, back in the 2000s, when me and you were still in school and watching movies, if a movie came out like this would be the gayest thing that anyone had ever seen in their lives. But none of that comes off here. It's totally heterosexual, and it's... I do kind of think that at some points I was kind of getting Frodo and Sam vibes from the two guys, and I was like...
Like not like
Yeah,
it doesn't ruin the movie for me. It also didn't ruin Lord of the Rings for me. It's just kind of funny.
yeah. No, there is a scene where he's carrying him on his back, and he's like, "When I dance with you, I just want to keep going." And it's yeah. No, now that I'm bringing it up,
Well, no, I think that
yeah.
was a that one I didn't really because I think that was like a Davy and Goliath thing or Davy and Goliath, David and
Oh,
Goliath. What fucking moral? Yeah, it was a David and Goliath thing, and but I don't know, was that like a story in like Hinduism that they also use? I'm not
I
entirely
don't
sure.
even think. I think it was just a great dance scene.
No, but just like the imagery of him carrying him on the back, which
Oh,
he
I don't
does
even.
several
Okay, but
times in the movie. I think
yeah.
it seems like David and Goliath to me, but
Yeah, I think that I know the scene you're talking about, not the scene after the dance scene, but the scene after Beam breaks Rom out of prison. His legs are basically broken because he's been beaten so bad, and he puts Ram up on his shoulders, and basically they are like a four-armed. What is it called?
Mecha Shiva,
Um,
Mecha Shiva.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like it invokes the imagery of like Vishnu or Shiva, and it's very explicit, um, and it's very unique. I'd never seen anything like that. The wire work in this movie also is really really good. There's a lot of really ridiculous stunts where people jump incredible distances or kick people like across like hundreds of
Yeah,
meters or something, and it's really good. They sell it really well, and there. I also want to say the extras in this movie I find in a couple of scenes are really good. In the scene where Beam is being tortured on the gallows by Ram in front of all the Indian people, all of those people look like they're ready to tear down everything. Like they're so upset and they're in revolt basically. And I bought it. That like I don't know where they got these extras, but they're great.
well, yeah. I mean, if people are dancing in the theaters while watching this movie, I'm assuming they can
Exactly.
probably get like people who are really passionate about the project on it, which is really great to see.
Yeah, that's the big thing is I really found that everyone involved in this movie cared so much about it.
Oh yeah,
Um, it's just it feels genuine. I think that's what I like. That's what I like the most about movies like this. It really has to feel genuine. When you go see Ant-Man versus and the Wasp in Quantumania, you're watching a movie that was made in a boardroom and that's filmed in front of a green screen, and it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like anyone gives a shit. But
I
when you
haven't
go see
seen
this,
Quantum
you know
Mania,
that
so
I haven't either, and I don't plan on it. I've seen what it looks like.
I've only seen the first Ant-Man, and I'm actually glad I did because Greg Turkington's in that, so it makes it part of the On Cinema universe. But
To tie it all back in. Shit.
yeah,
Oh, but yeah, I love this movie. It's and I thought it was really funny at the very end. There's a last music. We're jumping all over the place, but at the very end there's
yeah.
a big musical number. And this is when the references to Indian culture are sort of lost on me because there's a lot of imagery of a lot of people that I don't quite know. But I know it's near the end of the dance number. Just the director of the film comes out and joins the dance number, and I think that's great because you don't really get to see. I wish that every movie. I wish that The Irishman ended with Martin Scorsese coming out and doing a little dance with Robert De Niro. I think that would have been great.
Yeah, might as well. I'm kind of surprised
Like you,
Scorsese isn't an actor in more of his own movies. I mean,
yeah, he
he
was.
does like
Well,
cameos now.
yeah, he does. He was in. I just watched Shark Tale a couple of months ago, and he's in that.
Oh, he was in Dreams, the Kurosawa movie.
Oh shit, was he?
Yeah,
Oh my god,
yeah.
that's
So I was
crazy.
gonna say the director of this movie, he's done a few other movies. He did a two-part movie called Bahubali, I think it's called, and I've heard those are good.
Yeah, that I think is like a historical epic or a fantasy epic. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Just from
Well, I
what
mean,
I've
I think
seen.
this was a historical fantasy epic.
Yeah. So it seems like he likes to make a specific kind of movie. But that's been also been on my list, and I've never just been able to watch it. Maybe I should really check that out because I love this film. And I'm just surprised that I've never watched any other movies like this, or been aware of them. For that matter, it's
Yeah.
like none of these films are like I had never heard of this movie until my father watched it on a whim and let me know. And that's surprising because I feel like a lot of people would like this movie.
Yeah, I do too. I feel this is going to be one of those things where, kind of like how, Parasite or Old Boy or Squid Game put Korea on the map in terms of cinema. I think this is going to do the same for India. I think it has. And I think it's going to, just as the years go by, this is going to be remembered as a classic.
No, I absolutely agree. It's really something that can really put Indian cinema on the map.
Yeah.
Now I know I again I don't know much about this, but I know that there's a lot of infighting in Indian cinema because there's a lot of different factions of it. There's Bollywood, there's Tollywood, there's Nollywood.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because when I was on Netflix and I watched this movie, it had the English dub, and I don't think it had the original dub. But the thing about
no, it didn't.
Yeah, the thing about with like Indian movies is they're kind of like spaghetti westerns, like Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or any of Sergio Leone's other movies, where the actors are speaking different languages and then they dub it over anyway. So for that reason, I was like, okay, well, I can just watch the dub anyway, and it's good because it's going to be dubbed no matter what fucking language I watch it in. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, and I think that the dub actually like was pretty good, all things considered. Like, I usually I try as much as possible when I'm watching live action movies to never watch the dub, just because they're usually horrible. But with this,
Yeah.
I felt like, okay, well, they actually have people. It sounds like real Indian people doing Indian accents. I don't know if it was the original actors or not.
I'm almost certain that it was NTR Jr. and Ram Charan. I believe I've watched them. I watched a couple of behind the scenes and interviews, and they're speaking fluent English.
Okay.
So they're well versed in speaking English, and it sounds like them. So I
Okay.
think it absolutely was them.
Yeah, and then you can definitely tell like a difference between something like that and something like that dub of Akira, where everybody's talking with a Jersey accent.
Oh my god.
So there's
That was the original dub of Akira that I watched. I watched it on television, and I thought Akira was the stupidest movie ever for the longest time.
I've revisited, and I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I did when I was a teenager. It's a very messy movie, but I've kind of come to enjoy the mess more.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that you can get a lot more out of reading the manga, but I think that Akira is very important for Japanese
Absolutely.
anime.
Yeah. But I guess going back to RRR, like, this is the type of thing where, yeah, okay, I could maybe see this not being for everybody, but I think even if this movie's not necessarily for you, like you said, like, I think that the guy who directed this movie and all the parties involved, like, you can tell they really have a love for the craftsmanship for movies. You can really tell they love making what they're making. And that's going to be very infectious for a lot of people. Like, I don't see how, like, if I could see somebody not liking this movie, but I don't see how somebody could get absolutely nothing from this movie, because it's like,
Oh yeah,
there's just so much passion put into it. There's so much effort from all people, like, not just the director, not just the actors, the stunt choreographers, the VFX people, the
oh my gosh.
the sound design, even like the ADR did sound a little bit wonky at times, but that was probably just part of dubbing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, there's just so much going on in this movie, and it's really, when you make a movie like this that's pretty much a jack of all trades, you have the risk of it being a master of none. And I don't feel like
Yeah.
that's the case with this movie. I feel like in pretty much all departments, there's a lot of effort and talent on display here. And I really think that there's just so much to appreciate about it. Even if like you just are not into like the length or the dance sequences or whatnot, I still think that like you can say like, oh, okay, this dance sequence is really well choreographed. It's really well like presented and shot in terms of the cinematography. So even though was kind of expecting like there to be sort of a backlash against this movie, just because any movie that's getting this popular is going to have an inevitable backlash against it. I still think that there's so much here, like that you can really respect about it, even if you're not necessarily in for the experience. And for me personally, I totally was in for the experience. And even though I do think it's flawed in some areas, I don't expect a 3-hour movie to not be flawed in some areas because it's just trying to do so much.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree. That's you basically said everything I could say about that. Like that, even in the smallest details of this movie, you could tell that everyone cared a tremendous amount, and that's the. I'll say that till the day I die is the most important thing for a film to interest me is to know that the people making it really gave a shit. It doesn't really matter if the movie's terrible. I mean, it does matter sometimes, but I can at least appreciate whenever a movie is genuine, and this movie is incredibly genuine.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at something like The Room, I mean, that's a passion project for Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
Like, say what you want about the quality of it, but I mean, there's a reason why that movie, amongst so many other like movies that are known that have like cult followings for being bad, there's a reason people gravitate towards that one specifically, because you can tell it's a passion project for Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, and that's why I think people gravitate to this film. It's people are attracted to the confidence in what they're making. Like, it's very easy to be very genuine with a small art film, but with a big bombastic blockbuster like this, it's hard to maintain that genuine quality whenever there's all these CG artists and stunt coordinators and this huge press tour,
studio interference.
Yeah, exactly. But even through all that, it just shines through. I believe that everyone's having a good time making the film.
Yeah, and it might be that this director, and I don't want to pronounce his name because I feel like I'm going to butcher it, but I feel like this director is maybe in the position of people like maybe Christopher Nolan or James Cameron, where they've proven that their movies can be financial successes. So the studios are just like, okay, do what you want with it. We entrust you with this. And, I think that this guy definitely makes better movies than James Cameron. I don't know. And for the most part, Christopher Nolan, from what I've seen.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I think there's something to be said about how this is going to affect like international films. Like, I think that more people are going to, the more these genuine international films, it's weird to compare it, but like RRR is like Parasite or like Old Boy or those are all Korean films, but Korea is a big powerhouse for these films now, and that's because all of these really genuine, really high quality films have come out. And I think that this is I don't think it's the first for India, but I do think it's one of the most important in this decade anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the biggest for India.
Yeah.
And it was actually kind of funny because this came out in last year, 2022, and my favorite movie of that year was Everything Everywhere All at Once. And this, I actually kind of got some of the same vibes as Everything Everywhere All at Once. It just in that it was trying to accomplish so much. It was trying to, do all these different things at once and still have it be something comprehensible, still have it be something that people can resonate with and have them gravitate towards. And I prefer Everything Everywhere All at Once, but that's not a knock against RRR. It's just Everything Everywhere All at Once is just that good of a movie.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
RRR is like not far behind it, and that's high praise coming from me.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I do want you to. I as you were saying, talking about James Cameron, I did just look this up. Actually is a clip of James Cameron talking with SS Rajmouli and praising him for this film. So yeah, even James Cameron knows that this movie kicks ass.
His name is James Cameron. Oh, yeah, something about the dub that I found kind of funny. There's a subplot in the movie where there's this white girl.
Oh my god, yeah.
Who one of them falls in love with, and during that subplot, there's these points where the white girl's name was Jenny, I think.
Jenny, yes.
Yeah. So there's this one part where Jenny is she's talking to him, and there's supposed to be this sort of language barrier between the two, but it doesn't make any sense if you watch the dub.
Oh yeah,
because they're both speaking English, which I thought that was kind of funny. I think that most audiences are smart enough to put one and one together and figure out what's going on in terms of that. But I can imagine a few people being like, what?
Yeah, no, yeah. I watched when I originally watched this movie, I watched the Hindi version, and that made a lot more sense. But this time around, I actually did watch the English version because I had not seen it before.
Where did you watch the Hindi version? Where is it available?
Well, the Hindi version is on Netflix. Those are that's the Indian version that's available for Netflix. The original version is the Telugu version, and I'm not sure where to watch that legally, unfortunately. But the Hindi version's pretty good as well.
I gotcha. Oh yeah, I was going to say that another thing is that it kind of reminded me a little bit of Tarantino in some aspects. Just in terms of how the violence was used, in terms of they used the violence, but it was kind of artful. It reminded me a little bit of Kill Bill in that regard, where you could tell the violence wasn't gratuitous, and when it was to get a emotional gut reaction out of you.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there was a lot of I guess artistry. Even a little bit like Cowboy Bebop, a little bit in the same way they're kind of dancing around and kind of using ballerina movements as kind of their action poses, the same way that Spike does. So I did kind of get vibes from those, and that's good thing. Those are good vibes to get, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned 300. I almost get a dark Zack Snyder vibe from a lot of the action scenes in this. Is the slow-mo is very gratuitous, yes, but the slow-mo appears to only be used whenever they really want to show this specific shot of action. There's the shot of them running through the fire, and a lot of the imagery in the last 30 minutes of the movie is very, very explicit, and they're really trying to hammer it home. And it's really incredible. There's a shot of Ram. At this point, his hair is all grown out, and he's got this long hair, and he's draped in these orange cloths with a bow and arrow, and he's framed against the fire in the background. And it's I would make this a wallpaper. I want this framed in my house. Every frame of painting is not a lie.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. But yeah, it's there's a lot of push to make action films look really cool and really awesome. But this movie was frankly beautiful a lot of the time, and that was the only way to describe it. Is the violence and the action was beautiful. It wasn't a cool thing. It was elegant almost.
Yeah, you can definitely tell, and that's why you compare it to even the fight sequence at the end of the first Kill Bill, or pretty much every moment of the Raid movies. It's very much they're not just trying to get that visceral reaction out of you. I mean, they are doing that, but they're also putting something on the screen that you can appreciate on another level. It's very layered that way.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is if you want to make a movie like this, it's got to be layered, and it's got to have more to it than look how cool Captain America is when he throws that shield. Yeah, just I don't think that's a hot take or anything, but I don't know. It's a very simple thing.
Chris Evans is my favorite actor, and I will defend his integrity. He is the modern Jimmy Stewart.
Would you say that? I actually didn't know that about you. That's
no, I'm not. No, I wouldn't say that at all. That's a joke.
Oh my god! But yeah, I recommend anyone watch this movie. It is honestly a work of art, and it is pushing cinema, like specifically the action cinema, to another level that I didn't really know was possible, to make it genuine, and true to itself. So that is probably the most important thing I want to take away from this.
Yeah, and I would say that this is a very, like I said, it's a crowd-pleasing movie, but not in a bad way. It's a movie where I could see a lot of people really getting into this and really enjoying the experience of it. I don't know, maybe if you'd be more impartial to it if you're Indian, but I don't think so, considering that this has, gotten waves around the world. So, yeah, I would highly recommend this movie. I mean, not to say this is pretty good in terms of movies this decade so far. This is up there with one of the best I've seen.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that all we have to say about RRR?
I think it is. I think Ian will take a quick break, and we will start off with, or I guess we won't start off. I'm really bad with my words. I probably shouldn't be on a podcast.
It's okay.
If I
we
can't
don't
speak
even
things.
I can't English right, but I don't know.
Me fail English? That's impossible.
Yeah, that's. Then again, Daddy Derek can't say a single sentence properly, and he still has a lucrative film career. Yeah. Maybe not lucrative, but he has a film career.
Maybe we can have a film career one day. Who knows? All right. We are back, and, this is your film. We finished talking about my film, and since we don't really have any structure to this yet, why don't you start talking about your film?
My film that I totally made from the ground up was The Hitcher from 1986, before I was even born. I'm that talented. I was able to make a movie 8 years before I was born.
You were really putting in the work back then. I was really proud of you when this came out. Yeah.
You weren't born either, so you would have been. That's impressive too, that you were proud of me back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm really talented at being. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Talk about your movie.
So The Hitcher was a movie that I'm trying to think of where I even heard about this movie, because I don't even remember. I've just heard the name for a long time, and I assume that's kind of like you, right? You've heard the name of this before.
Oh yeah.
But you didn't know much of anything about it.
Yeah, I figured it was a movie about a horror movie about a hitchhiker. It seemed pretty self-explanatory.
That's what I was kind of thinking too, because I heard this in I've heard of this in the circles of people who really like 80s movies and stuff like that. So I was just kind of okay, this is a slasher movie about a hitchhiker. And it has kind of this cult following. It's okay, maybe I'll get around to that one day. And it's actually kind of funny. I have a little bit of a story about this movie. Is when I first went to watch it, I went to Black Dog Video, which was the last video store in Vancouver. I think it's gone now. Rest in peace.
Aww.
But I was I had heard about this movie and something. I just was okay, it's time to watch it. And this is where, you would go to watch a movie like this, a video store that, deals in low budget and, horror movies and stuff from the 80s and cult classics and stuff like that. So I went to the guy at the counter and I was hey, so do you have The Hitcher? And then he said, no. I'm I wasn't a dick about it, but I kind of looked at him in disbelief. I'm really? You don't have The Hitcher? And he's no. So I just rented some stuff out and I went home, and then about a month later I go back into that store, and not only did they get The Hitcher, but they had it on the shelf as a staff recommendation. So I feel that was me that kind of inadvertently directed them into doing that, which I was kind of proud of.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, so The Hitcher, I went into it thinking it was going to be a slasher movie or just something like that, and I did not get what I was expecting, to say the least.
No, not at all. I would, as someone who just watched this movie a couple days ago, I would tend to agree with you. That was not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah, so, and, okay, so I'll give you a basic rundown of this movie. So, this movie is about Ponyboy from The Outsiders. He's driving through the desert, and he picks up a hitchhiker that's played by Rutger Hauer. And he kind of immediately realizes that this guy that he picked up is a killer. So he kicks him out of his car, and he just is like, yeah, I avoided getting killed. But then the entire rest of the movie, it's basically the hitchhiker, whose name I think is John Ryder.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically Ryder going around and not killing Ponyboy. I'm calling him Ponyboy. His name's like Jim or something. But not killing Ponyboy, but basically going and killing everyone around him and kind of framing him for the murder. And not even to like really necessarily frame him for the murder for the sake of framing him for the murder. He's playing this weird kind of cat and mouse game where he's, playing with this guy, and he's really enjoying the chase. It's not about like putting him away or anything, or even the thrill of killing. Like, he's really enjoying the chase that he's having with this dude, and like the sort of mental game that he's playing.
Yeah, it's definitely not about framing him, because the moment he's arrested, he goes and kills the whole police station and lets him go free. Honestly, one of the best parts of this movie, I'm going to let you keep going, but one of the best parts of this movie is the puzzle of what the hell is he is even trying to accomplish with his motives.
Yeah, it's a very huge part of the movie. Like, it's, I find that the character of, I love Rutger Hauer. Like, he's probably the best fucking villain ever in Blade Runner, Roy Batty. But, in this movie, he's also fucking amazing. And, but there's just so much mystery around his character, and for him to like screw around with Jim this way is just, he's doing such a really, really good job of seeming like, you can tell like he's kind of having fun, but he's also doing it in a very menacing way. Like, he's like, whenever you see him smile or something, like, you're just like, oh, this is fucking, he like genuinely he like creeps me out, like, actually.
Oh yeah, no, that was one of my first notes. Is just Rutger Hauer is creepy, like in all caps, because he's incredibly creepy. And I think what's creepy about it is that mystery is why. Like, if you knew that he had some vendetta because he couldn't kill this guy and he wanted to frame him, that's initially what I thought, but then that went out the window, and at that point I started going philosophical. Like, what does he think he's doing right now? What is this supposed to represent? Even at the end, it's like, what have we accomplished? That's the big thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Have you seen Steven Spielberg's Duel?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay, yeah, you should check it out. It's one of his earliest movies, and it's one of his best movies, in my opinion. Like, I love 70s Spielberg so much. More than the later eras, even though he has a lot of good stuff in the 80s and 90s too. Duel was a movie where it was basically, there's a lot of similarities between that and The Hitcher. It's about this guy driving through the desert, and then there's this like truck that's trying to kill him. And in Duel, you never even see the face of the truck driver. Like, it's that shrouded in mystery. And I think The Hitcher and Duel, like, you could watch them as a double feature, and it would make a really good double feature. Some people, I think, I don't want to get into Ebert's review yet, but I'm going to bring that up. He did call it a ripoff of Duel.
We will talk about that.
I would not call this a ripoff of Duel. This is definitely has its own vibe, but you can definitely see the inspiration from Duel, and it becomes its own thing in the process. And this was a movie I'd watched a few years ago, and watching it again, like, it 100% held up for me. Like, I thought this movie was awesome still. What was your kind of, I guess, overall opinion of it?
Well, at first, I thought that the world it sort of presented was one of the most interesting parts. I think in my notes, about 30 minutes in, I started theorizing that this movie was about like hell or death coming to take him, just because it almost felt like the world was empty. Like it felt like he was some sort of purgatory.
Yeah.
Every store he went to was abandoned. Every rest stop he went to was unmanned. But the only person that was there would be Ryder, and Ryder was just stalking him through the desert. The only people you see are cops and his girlfriend that I can't remember the name of. Nash, yes, is him and Nash and the cops, and I guess Ryder.
Yeah, I also absolutely love Jennifer Jason Leigh, so I was happy to see her in this movie.
Oh yes, she was really, really good in this movie, and the whole thing that they did with her character was very, very shocking.
Yeah.
And we could talk about that later, but yeah, I was it. You told me that it's not a horror movie and it's an action movie, and I agree with you on that. But it does not feel like it. Another thing is it doesn't. A lot of the time there's action horror.
Yeah.
Like if you talk about like movies that are built on like the situation is the horror of it. Like the first thing that comes to mind is Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive.
I just watched that the other day for the first time.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Okay, now I need to know what you think about Maximum Overdrive, and then I'll finish my thoughts.
Oh, I thought it sucked.
Oh, it sucks so bad.
Like the first 20 minutes, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun." Like they're like driving around, and the cars. Like it was, cheesy fun, but I was like, "Okay, this is going to be a guilty pleasure movie." But the rest of the movie, they're just waiting at a fucking truck stop. It was fucking awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's fucking awful. There's the mini review of Maximum Overdrive. It stinks.
Yeah, the Jay Sherman came out near there, but it stinks.
Yeah. But so what I was thinking was action horror usually doesn't end up scary. It's like an action movie with like aesthetics of a horror movie. This felt like action horror, as in like that it was a horror movie with an action movie's bones. You know, like it was situational. The action was the horror. Like the fact that he is being chased down by this guy and we don't know why and we don't know his motives and there's no reasoning with him whatsoever. That's horrifying. And normally an action movie like this would be like a thrilling thing, but you don't feel thrilled when the action scenes of this movie. It feels like a sped up version of Michael Myers chasing you through your house. It's actually really well done how it's presented like that, and I was really impressed.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I guess you could call this a thriller, but like this movie really, when I watched it the first time and going back to it, like the tone that it's going for, I think it just nails. It's really good at getting under your skin. It's a very, very dark movie. Like a lot of the stuff that happens in it is like, it's legitimately fucked up, and it's not like with an action movie or something, a lot of times someone will die and you don't really feel it. It's just kind of like, oh, that sucks, and then they'll go on to like the next thing. This movie, you feel the deaths. Like they really frame them, and it really makes you feel like someone just lost their life here.
Oh yeah, though it's absolutely palpable how much dread a death in this movie feels like. Especially, I don't know, but you said it was Pony Boy who plays Jim. But he's doing a really good job in this movie. You really see him go through a transformation.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
I don't know if they changed how he looks over the course of this movie, but it really almost felt like a physical transformation. because like when you start the movie, he's really very kind of dopey, just sort of driving across the country, having a good time until he picks up this hitchhiker, and then slowly his life just starts to unravel over the course of a couple of days.
Yeah,
and that's the scary part. Is it's almost like body horror for the soul, because he is forever changed by what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do really love that transition about that with that character of Jim, because like you don't know much about Ryder, but you also don't know much about Jim either. But the thing is with like Jim, it's like he's not really a mysterious character, I wouldn't say, at least not at first. But then as the movie goes on and you start to see him like, you know, not only just like change and become darker, but also just become more confident and responsible and like taking this guy down and really wanting it to go. Like you could see that Ryder saw something within Jim that made him like, okay, this guy will be a good kind of like game to play this with. It's not going to be like just, you know, Ryder kills a bunch of people in the desert all the time. At least he was in this movie, but you could definitely see like, okay, he saw something in Jim that he knew that this was going to make for a fun game. And yeah, that comes out in Thomas C. Howell, I think that's his name. Yeah, C. Thomas Howell, my bad. C. Thomas Howell's performance. Yeah. Like you can definitely see that coming out.
Yeah, for sure.
Stay golden, pony boy. You did it. Good job.
Yeah, you did it.
Stay golden, pony boy.
I want to double back to Rutger Hauer's performance. Just the entire opening sequence with him in the car with Jim. Because I when I started this movie, I figured that would be the whole movie, is him taunting Jim as he's driving. I didn't think he was going to kill him right away or try to kill him. But I especially didn't expect Jim to just kick him out of the car. That's immediately when I knew that it was like, okay, so this movie isn't what I thought it was going to be. This isn't a slasher movie as much as it is some sort of weird revenge film. And it's really interesting because it sort of explores the psychology of like the pressure that he's under totally transforms him into almost like the mercilessness that he displays to Ryder at the end of the movie is almost a little unsettling, comparing to him to how he is at the beginning of the film.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much a thing where I just love the sort of dichotomy between those two characters. I mean, totally different thing, but going back to RRR and the way that those two characters kind of carried that, were the heart and soul of that film. I also think that these two characters are the heart and soul of this film, even though we don't really know a whole lot about them.
I would say we know almost nothing about. We know Jim is driving from Chicago to, I think he said to California, I want to say. And we know that he just wants a new start.
Do we even know what state this takes place in?
I believe it. All of the police officers are wearing cowboy hats, so I'm gonna have to say it's Texas.
Okay, went down to Texas, got a little reckless.
Yeah,
he did get very reckless, so that song very much applies here.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, it's almost smack dab right in the middle of the country, right in the middle of a journey. We're both Canadian. I don't know where Chicago is in relation to California. I know California is on the left, I think. Yes.
The left.
California is on the...
I mean,
on the left.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very left state, both in terms of its geography and its politics, so sure.
Yeah, so yeah, that's doubly right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also want to say, yeah, this movie is horrifying, but the action scenes are also incredibly well choreographed. We were talking about the action scenes in RRR, which, to be fair, a lot of that film is probably enhanced through CG and special effects.
Yeah.
Back in 1986, we didn't have that, and because of that, when you see a helicopter go down, it feels real. When you see a car flip over, it feels real. And God, miss that. Like all of the action scenes and chases in this movie felt so raw. Specifically, the police chase with Jim and Nash after they leave the bus. That was probably my favorite action sequence in the whole movie. Really, really good. I just think that we don't really get scary action scenes anymore. Action is very much something to be emphasized for a cool factor, but you can feel so much from an action scene like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to some of the horror in this movie, like when I just because I'm very familiar with like 80s kind of horror and stuff like that, you know, when I was watching this movie for the first time, I thought it was going to be like gratuitous. Like I thought we were going to see like a lot of blood and guts everywhere, a lot of people getting like stabbed and shot and stuff like that. And we do see that in this movie. Like the movie doesn't shy away from that. But what I feel like one of the biggest accomplishments of this movie is its use of implication, in the sense that like
Yes.
a lot of the time, like going to like the beginning and stuff like that, you know, you see Jim's driving down the road, and then Rutger Hauer's in the other scene, like in the other car with the family. And that's another thing too, is like there's a lot of scenes in this movie that are kind of funny, but there's also like the level of horror beneath that. Like that part, when I saw it, it was like kind of funny, and like all that at the same time I was like, holy fucking shit, what's he about to do?
Yeah. It was funny in a way that you're almost like nervous laughing at what's
Yeah,
going on. Like,
exactly. Like Fargo or something, like Coen Brothers kind of like.
Yeah, exactly,
level.
and that's because and that's purposeful, because Ryder is definitely trying to project some sort of level of terror onto Jim and the audience. But he thinks this is hilarious. Like you're laughing with him. Honestly, he's projecting that sort of dark sense of humor onto the film itself.
Yeah, but anyway, got a bit sidetracked. Going back to the use of implication, when you see like later on, Jim finds that car. And he looks inside of it. You don't see the bodies inside of it. It's all about Jim's reaction to what he's seeing. And it's way more powerful than if you just saw them like lying dead in their like blood or anything, or you actually saw Ryder going around and killing them. Like it's way more powerful. And the same thing with like the scene in the police station where, you know, Jim just kind of walks out of his cell, and then you see the dog walking by, and you're like, oh fucking shit, that was like a locust, like foreshadowing death. And then you just see the bodies of all the policemen just lying around. Like you see the carnage in the corpses. It was kind of like, it's so good. Like some people say this movie's too violent, and other people say this movie's not violent enough. And I can understand why both of those kind of parties exist. I personally think that the use of implication and having the violence be very restrained in a lot of areas, I think it really elevates this movie. Just seeing, and that's why I feel like you feel the deaths, because it's not just about seeing like somebody get shot and, you know, dying or whatever. It's very much, you see the reaction of Jim and what he's going through and how this is fucking with his mind. Like it's very impactful in that way.
Oh yeah, for sure. And to go off of your point about implication, I'm just now thinking, I didn't even note this. Do we ever actually see... We probably do. Yeah, we don't see Ryder actually kill a lot of people until near the end of the movie.
Yeah, the only people we actually see him kill are the two cops that are driving with Jim, I think.
Yeah. The two cops that when he steals the gun in the back of the police van, he shoots them and he kills them.
Yeah.
Before he jumps out of the car. But even the most gruesome things, that brings me to like probably one of the best scenes in the movie, which is when Jim and Nash are checked into the motel, and Nash, he takes a single he's been on guard for the whole movie, and is like, he's pushed to the mental breaking point, to the point where Nash is asleep. He just needs to go get a shower. He needs to wash the blood and dirt off of himself, the gasoline off of himself, and he needs to just take a moment to decompress. And in that exact moment, that's when Ryder, he breaks into the hotel room, and And again, there's two scenes with Nash where that implication is used, and the first one is when he lays down in the bed with her, which was so creepy.
It was also
So
one of those kind of funny moments, I do think too. But
no, yeah, it's one of those like it's really creepy, but it has you nervous laughing. It's like
yeah,
he thinks this is hilarious,
yeah,
and but the moment that she turns around and sees him, and when he goes to grab her, that's when the scene cuts back to Jim in the bathroom getting out of the shower, and you never really see how he drags her out of there or how that altercation goes until you actually see Nash tied between two 18-wheelers, which was another really great scene, and pretty much the same thing. You get to they basically tell Jim to go and talk with Ryder in the truck to get him to see some sense and not rip this woman in half. And the altercation is basically, you kill me and she dies because I'll let my foot off the clutch, or you don't kill me and she dies. It's a no-win scenario, and you're just waiting for it to happen because there's what else? What could you possibly do? And then he lets his foot off the clutch, and you see the rope tighten, and then the scene cuts.
yeah,
And that makes it so much worse than if they stuffed a dummy full of ham or pig's blood or anything like that. Like you imagine it, and it's way worse than anything they could possibly show you.
yeah. That's exactly it. Like it's just whenever it cuts to black, you just feel like the whole world just stopped. And I was
Yeah.
just, it's very powerful the way that they cut that and everything.
Oh, incredible. And just the way Jim acts after that, you could tell that it just enforces it that he saw something horrible happen. And that's for sure my favorite scene in the movie, honestly, is just the absolute tension in that. And the fact that Jim couldn't even kill him. This whole movie really feels like Jim is stuck in hell. And he's just being subjected to, like, we don't know much about Jim. We don't know what kind of person he was before this. We don't know what kind of person he is after this, but we know that he's never going to be the same person he was after what he's seeing.
Yeah.
And it really hammers that home with the implication.
Yeah, and absolutely. And another thing about the horror too, I remember a while ago we were talking about Midsummer, and you were saying like how you like daytime horror. You kind of like how that movie used sunlight to make a really creepy vibe, whereas a lot of movies use darkness and stuff like that. I think The Hitcher is another great example of a movie that does that really, really well, along with Duel as well and other movies.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, there's the part in the police chase where they're driving and you can see Ryder on a back road merging onto the main road with his truck, and it is he's like a shark, he's like Jaws, and he's like a predator. And that was the main thing. It was he is playing with his prey. He's playing with his food, is what it felt like, until you really realize that I don't think that Ryder ever had any sort of plan on killing Jim. I think he just wanted to torment him for as long as he could. And whether he thought that he could do it forever until Jim killed himself, because Jim at one point does consider just blowing his brains out.
Yeah.
But decides not to. And that's the thing. Even at the very end, whenever Ryder is dead, you still don't know what this was all for. It's like senseless violence for violence sake.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, like, it feels like that, but also the movie itself doesn't feel hollow in the sense like, oh, I just watched this for nothing, for no point or anything like that. It was kind of like, it's more of the question of like, well, what was the point of all this? What was, Ryder really doing? Why was he like pulling the strings? And I love that it's not totally answered.
Yeah, because it leaves the interpretation up to you. Because like when a movie presents an idea like that, it makes you think like, what is the purpose for violence in the world? What did this act of violence change for this man?
Yeah.
And why did it have to happen in the first place? And I think that that's a really good way to summarize the movie. Is it's a movie that asks the question of what is violence good for, and what is its place in the story. And I just love that. It made me think about everything that happened when those credits roll and Jim is standing by that truck. You really think about it. You're like,
Yeah.
Okay, it's over, and Jim committed an act of violence on Ryder that is probably equal to the violence that he committed to other people. Maybe not all people, but what now? You know?
Yeah, exactly. And there is a sequel, I guess, if you want the answers, although I haven't seen it and I don't plan to. But
oh my god, really?
Yeah, it was a straight
I
to
didn't even know
DVD.
that.
It was a straight to DVD sequel, and let me get it up. It has a
Okay.
wonderful title. You're gonna love this title.
I'm on the edge of my seat. It can't be the Hitcher 2 Electric Hitchaloo.
It's called The Hitcher 2 I've Been Waiting.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
I've been waiting.
And it's apparently, like, I looked into it a little bit, and it's apparently just Jim finds another random hitchhiker who's going around and killing people that has nothing to do any sort of connection with Ryder. That's pretty great.
Could you imagine going through all of that? You get a girlfriend, you lose the girlfriend at the same night you get the girlfriend, and then you keep living your life and you run into another murderer hitchhiker. Like,
Yeah.
what do you even... I would just stay inside for the... And you know what? I watched this movie again with my partner Avery, and me and Avery like to go on our gang stalking on Reddit. You know about this?
Yeah, I do, from Mr. Medicare. I do.
Oh yeah. So that's what this movie feels like. It feels like this one guy is gang stalking Jim to the point where he has to kill himself. And it's like, even when you look at those communities, they have no reason for why these things would happen. And the similarities were striking. I couldn't believe that, how similar that was to the people in that community.
And another thing, there is a 2007 remake of this movie.
Yes,
which is kind of
you made it sure that I knew which version to watch.
Yeah.
So I can only assume that one is not as good.
I haven't seen it. It's kind of funny though. It came out 3 years after the sequel, so I kind of feel like they didn't know if they wanted to make a sequel or a remake to The Hitcher, so they ended up doing both. And 2007 movie was one of those Michael Bay produced horror movies back when he was like producing like Texas Chainsaw, Amityville Horror, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. It's one of those, and it's gotten terrible reviews. I can't imagine it's. I would like to. Maybe I should watch both the sequel and the remake to see what's worse. But I will say though, apparently Sean Bean plays Ryder, which I don't think is like the worst casting choice.
Yeah, that's not terrible. I guess if you're looking for the same type of vibe from a guy, Sean Bean could give that. I don't think anyone can replace Rutger Hauer.
Oh no!
But if you had to, then Sean Bean's a pretty good way to go with that.
Yeah, and another thing about this movie is like there's a lot of moments in this movie, or like there's long stretches of this movie where there's no dialogue. There's no it's very visual with its storytelling, and I always really love that. It kind of feels like, maybe in a bit of a different way, maybe not in also way, kind of like Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, where it's not that they can't write great dialogue, and they do write great dialogue, but if something can be told visually through like a character's facial expressions or the way that the camera's moving or anything, they will do that before they go to dialogue, which I always prefer.
There's always that choice before exposition.
Yeah, exactly. And this movie does it for a lot of it. There was one part of the movie that was kind of confusing to me, though, and that was Nash. And so she starts the movie, like she's at like the restaurant she's working at, and she's not quite opened up yet. And Jim comes to use the phone, and then after that, it's like he meets her on a tour bus a few hours later. Like, what the fuck happened there?
Yeah, I don't quite understand why. Yeah, the tour bus was weird. Like, where was she going? Was she skipping town? Was she, like, it must have been like a charter bus or something, it seemed. But why was... It just sort of seems like they met randomly. It seems like there was a better way to do that, but I guess...
Yeah.
Yeah,
honestly...
I'm not sure. I never actually thought about that, but yeah, that is a little weird.
Yeah, like, Nash is I wouldn't say she's, like, a great written character, but Jennifer Jason Leigh's performance does elevate anything that she's in, and she does a really good job here.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was joking around that she's got 80s woman syndrome, where she's just kind of dumb and sort of ditzy in her own way. Doesn't really think things through like the big important man does. And I guess that does get her killed. Could have been written a lot better, but again, she does an amazing job. Her performance is amazing.
Yeah. And, like, this movie does have flaws, and, like, I'm not going to say it's a perfect movie, but in terms of, like, what it's going for and the visceral emotions that it wants to get out of you as a thriller, it is very effective at doing what it wants to do and doing it well.
Yeah, no, for sure. It gets its message across very, very well. There's no confusion as to what it's trying to say. And
apparently, unless you're Siskel and Ebert, I think that's a good transition.
Yeah, you know what? We've never had a good transition like that. Why don't we talk about this?
Okay, So actually, before we get into that, so what was kind of your reaction? Were you kind of like, why the fuck would we talk about a Siskel and Ebert review when I sent you that for the first time?
Well, but my relationship with Siskel and Ebert at the movies is that I think Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel were very important film critics.
Oh yeah, I love them.
I love them. I very much do not agree. I'm much more of a Siskel guy. Ebert's reviews I did not vibe with very much. I guess I just didn't see eye to eye with how he saw films, and I can put it very, very bluntly that I did not agree with his views on The Hitcher from 1998.
Yeah.
You sent me the link, and I watched it, and through like most of the review, I was like, okay, so he doesn't like it. It's too violent. And then he drops his final verdict at the end, and I like fell back in my seat. Like my Avery was in the kitchen making dinner, and I heard him go, "What?" from the kitchen, because he had no idea how anyone could come. Anyway, you go ahead.
I still don't know how anybody could come to this conclusion, but yeah, the thing is, like, yeah, I agree with you. I love Siskel and Ebert, and I sent before we started this podcast before we started this episode of this podcast, I sent Nathan the link to this At the Movies thing, and I was like, I'm definitely going to want to talk about this when we bring up The Hitcher. And I'm a huge Siskel and Ebert fan. I agree, I'm more impartial to Siskel's opinion, even though I think both of them have been either very right or very off the mark. Many times. I think that this is a case where they're both kind of off the mark, Ebert more so. But this might be the worst review I've ever seen from Siskel and Ebert ever. Like, this is like,
yeah,
this, like, I don't think, like, I've disagreed with them before. I don't think I've ever said that they're factually wrong about something, and this is a case where I would say that they're factually wrong, and not just misrepresenting the movie, but just being totally incorrect about what the movie is, portraying.
It's like it's dumb. Like, they're not usually dumb. Like, it's a dumb analysis. Like, how could you possibly have thought that? So let's not dance around it. What did Roger Ebert say about The Hitcher, Ian?
What's funny is, like, if you read his written review, he gives it 0 stars, even though he says it's a well-made movie. It's like, okay, if it's a well-made movie, I mean, I wouldn't give it 0 stars if there's some sort of... But
give it 1 at least.
Yeah, he disagrees with the movie on principle. And so the principle of what he is saying. So there's two sort of things that he interpreted from this movie that make me really, really confused. One is saying that the movie is this sadomasochistic relationship between Jim and Ryder, where Jim is getting some like sexual pleasure from this, going through this, and he's, I guess, I don't even know, like, oh, I don't even know how to fucking describe what he said about it.
I don't
he calls
even
it,
know what he like. I don't even know what he's talking about. If let's be blunt, it's incredible. It's very much 80s homophobia. Like, they're terrified of gay people at this point. And the idea that this movie might be about something gay is terrifying to Roger Ebert.
I don't think that Roger Ebert was like a homophobe, but I feel like he was saying that, like,
I think it was a product of the time. I think that culturally there was a lot of scares around homosexual relationships, but it's just so strange that he pulled that out of nothing.
Yeah, well, it was like the AIDS crisis was kind of at an all-time high. That's when it was kind of known as like the gay virus. And
yeah, exactly.
So he calls this movie a sadomasochistic thing, but he also says that it doesn't have the balls to admit that it's a sadomasochistic fantasy, so they added Nash as, I guess, a MacGuffin to make it seem like he has this romantic interest in this woman, when in actuality he's getting this sort of sexual pleasure from being fucked with by Ryder.
I don't know where he got that at all. It doesn't sound I watched the movie. I watched the whole thing, and I don't think he ever took any pleasure from playing this cat and game mouse with Ryder. There is no love there. There's not even any lust there. I don't know how you got that. It's like a critical failure. If you had to roll a dice on it, it's a critical failure for film analysis.
Yeah.
I cannot believe it.
And then at the end of the movie, he says that implies that Jim becomes the next Hitcher and takes over Ryder's spot, and then the violence cycle continues. What? Like, what?
Like, I don't think that's the implication. I think he's just, well, like, from what? Like, because it was like an ambiguous ending? Like, is that it? Like, is it because that they didn't say, and now I'm going home because I beat the Hitcher, 1996, and
and I read his written review too, and it had something to do with him lighting a cigarette at the end, which is something that Ryder did at one point in the movie, and it's like, okay, so apparently because they both like cigarettes, that means that he's influenced him to become the next murderer.
Hey, Roger, it was 1986. Everyone smoked.
Yeah, exactly. It's
like I don't even know. And it really does feel like after Roger Ebert says all of that in the actual review At the Movies, Gene Siskel's just like, yeah, and then that's the review.
But
it really much.
But Siskel, what Siskel was saying in that was absolute bullshit too, because he calls the movie cruel and violent and gratuitous, and it has no substance or meaning. So apparently Ebert thought it had this really deep substance and meaning that he vehemently disagreed with, and Siskel thought it had no substance or meaning, and he called the movie How Many Ways You Can Chop Up a Person. Who gets chopped up in this movie?
No, I think it's implied at the beginning when he says he cut off all their arms and legs.
Okay,
see it. And Nash is pulled apart off screen. You don't see anything.
Yeah, what he said in the review was I never thought I'd see in a movie where somebody gets pulled apart by two cars, and here's a news flash, Siskel. Exactly. You still haven't seen that. They didn't show it in the movie. What are you talking about? You're calling this violent, gratuitous thing. And also that's another thing. And I told you when I sent this link to you to watch the review after you watched the movie. And the reason I said that is because Siskel spoiled that scene by saying that she gets pulled apart. Not only did he misrepresent it, but it's also like, you don't spoil something in a sneak previews review. Like,
yeah, I
it's
didn't
not
even
like
think
this.
about that. That happens at the end of the second act. Like, that's a total spoiler, and he just spoiled that for everyone who might want to see this movie. I guess he just didn't think it was worth not spoiling it. But like, come on.
Yeah, it's this is like, yeah, I mean, they totally missed the mark and totally misrepresented the movie. It's like, how many ways can you chop up a person? Okay, well, he has that happen once where he describes it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's one way you can chop up a
once.
person. That's how many ways
Apparently
I guess you can
there's
do it
one
is
way.
once. Yeah. So, it's like, I don't want to sound it like I'm a stan for this movie, and I don't want to sound it like, oh, the Hitcher is above criticism or anything like that. But the way that these two talk about this movie is the most ridiculous interpretation I've ever seen of like any movie that they've ever talked about. Like, this is like Mr. Enter or Movie Bob levels of like, what the fuck were you guys like talking about? We're going to antagonize every single person in this YouTube community by the time we're done with these podcasts. But
God,
this was like
enemies of everyone.
Yeah, this like, and I wouldn't be bringing this up like if it was Movie Bob or Mr. Enter. I'm bringing this up because I really respect Siskel and Ebert, and seeing them miss the mark so badly. Like, I mean, I've definitely disagreed vehemently with a lot of the stuff they've said, but I never at any point did I feel like they were misrepresenting and misinterpreting the movie to this like insane of an extent.
Yeah, no, it's like they saw a different movie, and it's so weird. Like, it makes me wonder, what did they see the same movie that we saw? Like,
yeah,
and also I don't feel bad criticizing these two because Movie Bob and Mr. Enter are out there still, and they can yell at us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing about like criticism. It's like, you can criticize people all you want. I mean, but if it comes back at you and then, not that I think that Siskel and Ebert, I mean, they were petty with each other, but I don't think they were like, they didn't like hold it against each other when they disagreed to like a super malicious extent. And nor do I like hold it against people like, I don't know, Jim Sterling or Movie Bob or whatever, that like, I don't hate them as people. I don't know them. But it's just that, when you put out criticism and that's your job, it's like, okay, criticize away. But when people come back and criticize you, I mean, just be prepared for that. Like, it's the same thing with my videos. I make a bunch of analysis content. Not a whole lot of it is that negative, but I accept criticism when it comes my way. Like, it's, I'm not going to be like Link Cara. Yeah. It's like, oh, how dare you criticize me for a comic book I made, even though that's my entire career is criticizing comic books.
The Lightbringer will not be insulted in this way.
Guess you should have thought about that. Okay. Anyway, this is just becoming...
Okay.
This is becoming Doug Walker's video of like so many impressions in so many seconds.
Yeah, let's stop shitting on people and maybe finish up our podcast. How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds good to me. But I guess overall, go check out RRR and The Hitcher. I mean, they're very different movies.
No.
It's kind of funny, like,
yeah.
The first episode, we had two totally opposite movies, and I think we did that again with this episode. So I don't know what you're going to recommend now, but maybe it'll be the same type of thing. So
maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But this is the part that I'm really excited for, is when I get to find out what movie I am watching for next month's episode.
Okay.
Do you have something for me?
Yeah. I do. And I assume you have something already?
I do. I picked something out today because I realized I did not have anything, and I think I've got a good one for you. I hope you haven't seen it already.
Okay. So My movie recommendation is from 2004. It is a German movie. I've watched it when I was about 10 years old. It was the first time I remember being like actively aware that I was watching a foreign movie. And that movie is Downfall. And do you know this movie?
I do know this movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if I guarantee you've seen a scene from this movie, because a huge internet meme back in the day was to use the scene of Hitler freaking out in his bunker, and they would put, like, and you made that one of those yourself for Screw Attack, I remember.
I did, yeah, back when screwattack.com was a thing. It got featured on their website because one of them was leaving, and I made a Hitler meme.
Yeah, it was like Hitler was pissed off that Destin was leaving Hard News, if I remember.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. Oh my god.
Okay, so yeah, that'll be. Have you seen the full movie?
I've never seen anything other than that one clip.
So I feel like that's the position a lot of people are in on the internet, but I was maybe one of the few people who actually saw the movie beforehand. And then, I didn't really like that meme that much. I thought it was kind of, repetitive. But I was kind of happy to see this movie that I really liked get some attention online, even if it was kind of ironically. But yeah, Downfall.
Yeah. All right, Downfall. And now I am going to give you your recommendation. So I know that you're Mr. Obayashi, you're Mr. Japanese cinema, Mr. lived a certain number of years in Japan. So
2 years.
Recently I was watching 2 years. So there you go. I was recently watching Criterion Collection's Closet Picks, and one of the most recent ones that they put out was Hideo Kojima.
I watched that one.
Yeah. So have you seen any of the movies that he picked?
Yeah, I saw most of them except for like the Ozu ones.
Oh, yeah. Well, my choice is actually a movie I haven't seen yet, but it's something I really wanted to watch because it looked really interesting, and I thought that I would just recommend it to you so we could watch it together, and that's Harakiri by Masaki Kobayashi.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh, that is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. My God. Well, good friggin' choice, huh?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're going to be leading the discussion on that one then, because I have never seen I basically recommended a movie for myself that you like.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you recommended that one, because, yeah, like that's... Okay, anyway, I'm going to save my opinion about it more so for the next time, but...
Yeah, we will talk about it next month. I am really excited. I'm glad that you like that one, because... God, I've checked out a little bit of it, but I don't want to spoil too much of it. But that Harakiri from 1962 by Masaki Kobayashi.
All right, yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and if anyone listening at home wants to watch any of those movies, I know that Harakiri is on Criterion Channel.
No,
at least
Downfall is on Tubi.
Downfall's on Tubi. You don't even have to pay a single thing. You watch it with ads.
Yeah. At least it's on Tubi in Canada and America. I don't know about other regions, but that's a shitty thing about like when you try to recommend like this is how you can watch it. Like it's different region to region, and I don't think Canada is the metric most people go by.
Yeah, no, Canada has really terrible streaming options. We don't have every time I go to look something up, it's like it's on Hulu, and it's like we don't have Hulu, so I guess I'm fucked.
Yeah. Do we have HBO yet? Even I don't even know.
No, we've got Crave, which has HBO, but Crave is like $150 a year or something.
Oh,
like something crazy like that.
A year, that's not that bad. I think I would do that because you get Adult Swim on Crave as well, so as well as HBO.
Oh, well, there you go. Maybe I need to. This episode is not sponsored by Crave. I don't know anything about Crave. Crave might be awful, but maybe.
This episode is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Not really.
You can get a pack if you put in the code Unrealistic Elephant. You can get a gem and a sword. And
I don't even know what's in those Raid Shadow Legends.
I don't. You can get a hero named Nathan. Okay. It's just me, and I'm not very good.
And you get the hero named Tim Heidecker, and that's me.
That's you. You're Eric Wareheim.
Oh, right. No, I'm Greg
What?
Turkington. My bad.
What am I supposed to believe anymore?
Supposed to believe that next time we're watching Downfall and Harakiri, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. This has been episode 2 of the Unrealistic Elephant Podcast.
Well,
and we will see you next month.
They're kind of listening. I guess they're kind of like watching something else while they're doing this, but...
Yeah, I guess they are. Thank you for listening to the podcast that is called the Unrealistic Elephant Podcast. It is the podcast that we record every month where we talk about 2 movies that we want to watch and chose for the other one, and it is called the Unrealistic Elephant Podcast.
Okay. Yep. That's a good way to end things. So, adios.
Yeah. Adios. See you next time. See you later.
Read a book.